Hey everybody, so I've been enjoying Elden Ring so much that I decided to start editing some videos for it, and the series I wanted to start now is my boss tutorial series, and in this video we're going to be taking on the Grafted Scion, which is the first tutorial boss in the game. In classic From Software fashion, the first boss you fight you're meant to die to, but with a little bit of persistence, patience, perspiration, and some very monotone instructions, we will persevere. So to start the fight, you're just going to want to charge in like a greased up, naked, raving lunatic at a football game. Your opener is of course going to depend on your class. General advice I can give you here is to use something on the heavier side, since I assure you every damage point counts. Being a depressed weeb, I happen to be playing a samurai, so after much trial and error I found that the best opener for my setup is a two-handed sword art, and then one light swing, and then get out. And the rest of the fight is just cat and mouse. The best and most consistent way I found to dodge his attacks is to stay right around the medium range, and then try to be sprinting as much as possible, sort of trying to bait out attacks by doing these little circles in front of him. And the reason for this is he has a couple of quick attacks. He has this little pokey, he has this jump slash, and some other faster swings, and if you're constantly sprinting, we take the old man reflexes out of the equation, see? So as long as you aren't too close, you just need to hold away from the boss when you see him do something, and then from there you can make that decision of, oh, okay, do I punish this? Is this a punishable attack or not? In general, that's the big issue with this fight, is that since you don't have any flasks, these quick attacks will eventually just whittle you away because he does use them throughout the entire fight. Be careful and keep an eye on your stamina. You'll notice that I rarely let it dip too low. Ideally, I say that you never want to be caught in an attack with less than 30% here, because you need to have some available for a dodge roll if you need it, or even an attack if the opportunity arises. So just something to keep in mind here, because that will sneak up on you if you're not careful. And you'll also want to have as much real estate to dodge as possible. The downside of this method is that you need room to run, so you'll notice whenever I get to one side of the room, I'll make a move to get past him to give myself a bit more breathing room, because if this guy gets you near a wall or a corner, you're done. That goes for any boss really, but it's especially true for this guy. So that's the general pace of the fight. Next, let's get into the attacks that you can actually punish and get some damage going, and how much. So starting with his scream here, a lot of the times when you're close enough, typically after punishing one of his other moves, he'll rear back a bit, and he'll literally start to shake as if he were an activist on Twitter, and then scream, which does damage. This is a good opportunity for some sort of charging poke. That's what I usually do, but I didn't have the stamina to sprint here, so I just sort of did a wimpy rolling light. Just use something that's relatively fast and allows you to get out of there quickly. Next is his most common attack, and that's his big combo. He'll start this off with a double right-handed swing, and then he'll follow that up with two slow sweeping attacks, all while walking towards you, and then a double righty poke, and this is where you make a decision. If you want to be safer here, you stay out. He'll either end the combo there, which means you won't get any damage, or he'll add his fourth segment, which, in case if you stayed out, as soon as he lets loose that second swing, you're just going to want to sprint in there, get a poke, and then get out. Do be careful here though, because it is pretty easy to go in too early, as his final swing does have a pretty delayed windup. This is also the point where I should probably mention the fact that everyone is probably using different stuff, so just try to adapt to this however you need to. Maybe do a bow shot or a fireball or whatever, something that you can use safely from ranged, or if you're melee, something that gets you in and out quickly. Despite the length of his combo, his downtime here isn't a whole lot, so just don't get too greedy. But let's also cover route number 2 here, which is the Billy Badass route. So for his third segment, the double righty poke, you want to dodge into his sword arm. His windup on this is kind of slow, so it's fairly easy to dodge if you ask me. And I prefer this method because it actually guarantees you some damage, so after the roll, you're going to want to get one quick hit in, preferably a light attack, and this is where two things can happen again. He either ends the combo, and you dodge roll away like the coward that you are, or he does his fourth segment, and this fourth segment has pretty good tracking, and you need to move to dodge it. You can get away with another dodge towards his finely toned rear end. He probably grafted it off of me if I'm gonna be honest, but to be safe, I always just do 2 rolls because sometimes he'll give you the reach around and just nick you. So you're basically trading 1 more swing for a roll, but this is much more consistent and it's much more safe. And again, because you can't heal, you really can't afford being too reckless here, if you ask me. But whatever the case is, get your light hit in, 2 if you only used 1 dodge roll, and then roll away. Like the coward that you are. Again, this is his most frequent attack, at least if you're zoning him around medium range like I instructed, so you should burn this combo into your head more so than any of his other stuff. I do suggest method number 2 if you can consistently get that dodge, as it guarantees the damage, as opposed to method 1 where if he ends that combo early you get nothing and it just extends the fight, which increases the chances that eventually he will hit you with something. And next we have his little ground pound thing, and this one is basically free damage. He'll pound the ground a few times and then finish it off with the jumping finale, and this finale doesn't move very far at all. Like, look at this range. You can just sort of stand there and then charge something up for when he does land for some big damage, at least if you have a decent range on your weapon. Like if you're doing a dagger, then you probably don't want to do that. But using the uchigatana, as you could see here, I used another heavy sword art. Yeah, use your weapon skills. They're insanely undervalued, I think, which is a shame because they're usually insanely powerful. He also has this jumping leap. He doesn't use it too often at this range, but you will see it every now and then. But the good thing is, if you're sprinting, this is another attack you can just sprint away from to avoid, and then get 1 quick hit in, and then get out. No dodge rolling needed. Occasionally, he'll also go into this stance. This is his gamer stance, okay? And just like with any gamer, although for a different reason, you need to maintain a good distance. And from this stance, he'll use 2 attacks, either a charging spin or a charging flurry, and you can punish both of them. I recommend making use of a jumping heavy and then just getting out. As long as you are far away enough when he lunges towards you, you should be fine. Another punish opportunity here is his weapon buff. At 50%, phase 2 will begin, and he'll buff his weapons with a rather long animation. You can punish this, but in this particular run he caught me off guard, so I backed off, which was a good idea because he would have tagged me with that poke. But this is just something to keep in mind. If you see that health bar near 50%, just be ready for it. You can get a couple of hits in. It's another good moment for a charging poke and then a retreat. And if you're wondering, this just increases his damage. He doesn't get any new moves, thankfully, just a damage buff, which isn't a problem because you're not going to get hit, right? And that's pretty much the fight. In summary, you want to maintain a medium-ish distance, and then try to bait out the attacks with a sprint, and then punish those attacks that I mentioned. He has some other attacks that I haven't mentioned yet. He has this retreating swing where he'll roll to your left. He has a shield bash if you're close enough. He has a spinning jumping whirlwind. But again, if you're zoning him, like I said, these are all a non-issue. But that's about it. Thanks for watching. I hope it helped. This is my very first guide out of what I'm sure will be many more, so please, if you have any feedback, let me know, and I will try to improve. A hard thing I found with these guides is that everyone is using something different, so it's kind of hard to give general advice. So just try your best to adapt your character to this strategy. I think in general, I always want to do this with the standard dodgy melee build, since I think that would be the most useful all around for everyone. And in my opinion, it would be the best for actually understanding the moves of the bosses and how punishable they are. Let me know in the comments if you have any requests, and give the video a like if you found it helpful. I'll let the full fight run from here, minus the monotone commentary, and at the end I'll show you the movesets of the sword and the shield that you get for beating this guy, which you most assuredly will do, because you now have the knowledge, and knowledge is power. Thanks everyone.